It's Sunday, the 17th of July, 2016. This is a chart update for OreCorp. OreCorp's a stock that I first discussed a couple of months ago after it had this rise from 10 to 30 cents, and I said I'd bought on that pullback, expecting a breakout above the a repeat of this range from 10 to 30 if it could get a run on and toward 50 cents. In the interim, it had a capital raising, a large capital raising as well, $16 million raised to a lot of large institutions. So it took a while to, it stagnated for a little bit longer, but eventually a couple of weeks ago, it's really had that explosive move up toward that initial target of 50 cents. And then last week sort of consolidated at the top end of that range. So I think, it's had that move, and I think this is what you're going to see with this stock is that due to the liquidity, it's something I talked about when I first discussed this a couple of months ago. The directors own about 30% of the shares now after the capital raising, and some really big institutions own another 35% of the stock. So I think they're what you'd call tight hands, and there's not a lot of loose stock around. So when someone of any size wants to buy something, they've got to really push up the share price. I think one thing that came about is when they had that move up to 50 cents, they were issued with a price and volume query, a speeding ticket from the ASX, and they used that as a bit of an opportunity to spruik themselves a little. And one thing I noted in that is the scoping study that they're doing on the Nyanzaga project in Tanzania. They're expecting that to be completed in the September quarter, which is probably earlier than some in the market had expected, considering I think initially they'd said by the end of 2016. So you could see that in the next 2 months, and I'm not sure if there's a firm grasp in the market of the quality of the project. So you could see, you can see that when they released the numbers on the JORC resource, the market was really sort of had missed that, and didn't anticipate it well, and had to bid up the share price a lot in the in the couple of weeks after, or a couple of days after even. So I've done a bit of work this week and tried to compare it to some of the other projects. This is OreCorp's presentation on showing the stock in comparison to some of their project peers. One thing I noted was that I went through a lot of the feasibility studies of some of these projects mentioned in this presentation, and OreCorp's really got that advantage of that high grade. That's if you can have that high grade, it means you can get your plant doesn't have to be as large, and your capex for your plant is going to be reduced. So I'm thinking their plant might be somewhere between 120 and 150 million dollars US to build, which is very competitive. The mine development costs, I'm not sure of. That could be it's a little bit more difficult to tell, considering they've got options about underground or open pit development. But I think this stock has really good fundamentals, and I think it's difficult to buy in, but this has got that. It could easily go to $1 by the end of the year, based on the quality of management and the quality of the project they have. So it's a stock that I continue to hold, and I think it's a good one to hold for the rest of the year at least.